with Miss Yazel. Today, let's go over what we did last week, okay? Name 3 ways you can be safe with your art materials. So we talked about not writing with scissors, making sure we're safe with permanent markers, making sure nothing goes in our mouth, or we are never putting anything sharp near our face. You need to make sure that you're not smelling anything that has fumes, and you need to make sure that you are keeping things away from your face and not putting anything in your mouth. So, if you could have named 3 ways to be safe with your art materials, then you're doing great. I'm learning about landscape today. So, landscape is like a picture of something outside, and you're going to be drawing a line landscape today. So, be focused on the element of line when you do your landscape. Let's think about the parts of a picture. So, when you were first learning about landscape, Ms. Hazel taught you about the different grounds in the picture, and there are 3 different grounds. And then there's an extra line in here that we're going to talk about also. So, when we are first learning about landscape, we have to learn that when we draw a picture, we have to show people where the sky and the ground meet. And that line is called the horizon line. So, we usually draw it somewhere in the middle of the paper, but it could be further up, like in this picture where the mountain has a red line above it. That is the horizon line. So the things that are the farthest away in our picture, we say they are in the background. That means they are the farthest away from what you are looking at. So we're trying to create an illusion that somebody is looking at things that are far away. And then in the middle ground, there's things that are closer to the viewer. And then the things that are in the front of the picture are the foreground. Those are the things that are closest to you in the picture. And we're trying to create that illusion that things are getting closer or further away from us. So the picture you see on the right is a folk artist, and that folk artist created a landscape with houses. The houses are bigger in the front of the picture or the foreground, and they are smaller in the background so that they appear further away. Their perspective, or the way that they drew their houses, is not quite accurate, but that is because they are not a trained artist. They have taught themselves how to do art. So folk art is really cool, but it does not always have the correct perspective. This Starry Night is one of the most famous landscapes that you probably are familiar with, and it has a line in the background that shows where the sky meets the ground. But you can see that Van Gogh really loved landscape and how all the colors are swirling. It really makes his landscape come alive. The one on the right is an artist called Javier Castellanos, and he is a Mexican artist who loves to use lots of color and pattern in his landscapes, and they're quite fun to look at. So here's our project today. Our project is in creating a landscape that has different areas where we can create lines and patterns. So the one on the left, they're working with warm in the sky and cool on the ground. The one on the right, they have a variety of colors in their landscape and lots of different patterns as well, not just directions of line, but they also have shapes. So you can do your landscape either way. The one on the left is horizontal, back and forth. The paper is longer this way. And the one on the right, the paper is vertical. So it's up and down. You can choose whichever direction you like for your picture. And I'm going to walk you through those steps in just a minute if you can get a piece of paper. And if you have markers, that I believe that these were done with markers. In school, we just use crayons, so it's okay if you don't have markers. They turn out really awesome with crayons as well. So gather up a pencil, paper, some crayons or markers or both, and join me back here so I can. Hey, I hope you have some white paper and some crayons or colored pencils or markers for your line landscape. So here's an example I did in class. of a landscape, and I'm going to walk you through this one right here. And you can create your own landscape however you would like. I would use a pencil to start your drawing because it's a good way to plan out your art. You always want to start with a horizon line, and in this case it's going to be the line where the mountains meet the sky. So I like to start with some mountains, and then I'm going to draw another line here so that I'm separating my grounds. So I have the sky, then the mountains, then a ground, and then maybe there's another ground in front of that. And then I'm going to draw a body of water, lake or pond, whatever you like. If you don't want water, then just make more grass here and maybe some fields of different crops that might be growing. And then I'm going to do one more ground here. So I have all my areas laid out so that I can go back and add some line details in there to fill in the space. So instead of coloring in the space, we're going to be creating lines in a pattern to fill in that area. So I might start back here with the sun that is setting behind the mountains. So I'm going to draw some lines that go around it. And then once I have a few yellow circles, I'm going to go back with a different color. So I'm going to choose another warm color for the sky, orange. This is yellow-orange actually, which is awesome because that would be in between yellow and orange, right? Yellow-orange is an intermediate color that comes between yellow and orange. And if I can find the orange, that's not what it's called, it's just called orange. This is another yellow-orange. Okay, so maybe I don't have an orange in my box. Or maybe I do. Okay, so we've got a red-orange. And then I'm going to finish with red. You need to take your time. Miss Hazel's kind of rushing through this because I'm trying to demonstrate and get it all in a short video. Okay, so my mountains, I'm going to choose some different values for my mountains. In the example I did, I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 4 different purples and blues. I've got a blue-violet, a purple, a blue, and maybe a light blue or a light purple. I can't remember. Yes, okay. So pick out a variety of colors if you have them to fill in those spaces. Okay, so think of different kinds of lines that you could choose besides straight lines. I'm trying to curve these slightly the other direction. And if I really wanted to get crazy with lines, then I can create a pattern with them. Instead of just filling in with just one kind of line, I could cross them over and create that cross-hatching pattern. Or we could choose shapes. One of the examples that I looked at had some shapes that look kind of like scales. So I'm going to do that on one of mine because I kind of like that one. And then we've got wavy lines. And in between there were some broken lines. And then wavy, wavy, broken, wavy, wavy. I'm going to go back and do that better. There's always room to improve our picture. If we notice that we didn't do something, we should go back and fix it so it looks even better when we show people our work. Now I'm going to do a line that just kind of looks like a rainbow, doesn't it? Only all one color. So keep filling in all your spaces and areas. And when I got to the ground, I chose some light greens and then a little bit darker toward the front. I drew some wavy lines for the water and repeated that over and over again and made it go a different direction than the grass. So don't forget to change directions of your lines, even if you're doing the same kinds. Change directions in each area makes it more interesting. And happy creating, fourth grade.